Kristin Kamado here. How are you doing today? Today I want to share with you a card that I made for Craft Roulette and a bonus card. Okay, so the parameters for episode 285 of Craft Roulette were square card, dairy aisle colors, leaves, and hexagon. Well, those are quite wonderful. However, you're probably thinking, what do ruffles have to do with any of that? Well, went to the store, had to do some reconnaissance for dairy aisle. And what did my wondering eye see? What pairs well with ruffles? Dean's French onion dip, one of my favorites. So this is in the sour cream in the pre-made dip aisle, and so I was really inspired by those colors. Well, as part of Tracy's Not Afraid of Color YouTube channel, as she was the guest for episode 285, as part of her membership on YouTube, she does provide occasionally some printouts. And most recently, she created these autumn type ones. So they all have the leaves, a sentiment in a circle, and something you could use as an inside sentiment if you wanted. I've printed out one just to show you, but I printed out another one that I'm actually using on the card. So I fussy cut the leaves and had a saying. This is one saying, but again, I went with another one. And also using a printout she provided from previously of some sentiments that she had. I used the grateful one, and this was awesome as she had created quite a lot for us. And here is the card. I'm going to use this one as my regular submission, and you get to see me glue together here the bonus card. Square card, check. Dairy aisle colors. Well, I think going with the Dean's dip here, I pulled in the greens, the onion, kind of brownish color, and of course the dip itself and the container is white. Silver, because sometimes you see silver around the dairy aisle for like the the lids and different stuff. Well, this one is white. Sometimes they're silver, so I'm going with that. I shaded the grateful a little bit with just a real light honey mustard, as well as the little strips. Now, the strips I had in my stash, and I thought this was a great way to go ahead and use them. So for the greens, I used Simon Hurley Fake Plant, Gina K Grass Green, and Gina K, Key Lime. And then, of course, the honey mustard. I had this paper from my stash of papers from the Tea and Coffee collection. Here's a piece of it here. Cut out some hexagons. So leaves, check. Hexagons, check. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I like that one. But parameter fever, it has hit me. Maybe not quite as much as the one where I made 6 cards, but you know. This time, I'm taking the leaves. I did cheat and cut out my hexagon from the center. The sentiment on Tracy's printout says, "Some say fall is the season when the leaves change." The inside sentiment, "I say it's the season when my sweatpants never change." I thought that was so funny. So let me get to gluing and we can get to talking. So this is gold paper in my stash. It is actually poster board that I got at Hobby Lobby. I think they were selling like 9 by 12 sheets or 12 by 17 or I don't know, some big variety pack. I got gold, silver, blue, green, and red in the pack. I was too chintzy at the time to buy real gold paper. I hear Spellbinders has a good one. So, you know, use what you have, right? Now, I put it through my die machine. I was testing out something new with that particular one. Not my Diamond Press one, but the Spellbinders one I have. And I put what I was using as the top shim, if you will, on it, and normally it doesn't have these lines in it, but that's from the cutting pad that I use that had some stuff on it. I learned from the next time to maybe just put a piece of printer paper over the top to help keep that kind of level. I don't think that's going to sink in too bad, so we'll go ahead and just glue that straight down. If this gold paper was thicker, I might fill in the middle so it doesn't get too droopy, because, you know, we don't want our layers droopy. But that's okay. I think we will be quite okay. So, let's see. How shall we have our... Which was funny because there's leaves kind of in this pattern paper here as well. Let me move this out of the way. This little piece is kind of driving me nuts. All right. That's a little bit better. But I wasn't too sad about the piece. I think it does kind of add a little texture back there, so maybe I'll keep that in mind and purposely do that on another card with some gold. I have a few scraps left. Maybe that might be fun. Okay, then out of the hexagon, I made a frame. So I cut the regular hexagon out and then ran it through with a smaller size one and got this. So this I will save for a future project. But this, I think, is going to go down right about in the middle. I wanted that kind of frame look for this one. Okay, glue, glue, glue. So square car, I think we've got that down. Dairy Isle colors on this one reminded me of more of like cheese packaging. Which, you know, I probably have some cheese packaging in the fridge. Please hold, I'll go get that. Okay, thanks for holding. Okay, so found this cheese and this cheese in my stash in the fridge. Haha. And I thought the colors, the orangies, the reds, a little bit of the green was appealing. This one even has a little bit of what looks like a gold tone in their logo. So that's the color palette that I'm going to go with on that. Went ahead and glued down that hexagon. I'm just going to lightly ink blend here on the sentiments, only because while I printed them out on white paper, I thought the white was just a little too stark since I'm using kind of this orangey honey mustard background color. Go Team Orange. And the gold color along with this lighter brown, I don't know what color you might call that, taupe, mushroom, kind of card base. So it's flecky, which is fun. So I'm going with that. I think the green will pull in nicely. You know, you could also say bringing back the Dean's Dip color, if you will. Ha ha ha. Know what I'm having for a snack after I get done with this video. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for our inside sentiment. I think I'm just going to go around the outside here real quick with some honey mustard, just to maybe tie in, hopefully. Ooh, that's a little much, isn't it? Okay, well, you know, we'll just find an embellishment to put in there, right? Was this maybe not a good idea? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What am I doing? I'll find some leaves to go over that. I know I've got some coming in the mail that I can put over that too, but that wasn't quite exactly what I wanted. And this paper is not the best for ink blending. I probably should have brought in different ink blender brush, or just dip the edges right in the ink pad. But, you know, you live, you learn. I think that makes it not quite as bright white. Plus, the Gina K inks will smooth back just slightly, except for my messes here. This ink blending probably looks better for a coffee card where I spilled the coffee on, right? Okay. So we'll go with that. 1 second while I clean this up. Okie doke. Now I'm going to just go ahead and glue this in. Got some background on there. That's funny. Who knew that that little silicone stick mat there would pick up some colors? that might be fun to do some projects on like that. It's almost acting like a gel plate. The little wheels, they are a-spinning. Okay. Looks good for the inside. I can add some more decoration when I know who might actually get this card. Now again, here's those leaves from the printout. I liked the white border on them, so I think I'm going to keep that still on these like I did with the last card. I do think it makes them kind of stand out a little, and I kind of like those about center, so that way you could still see the hexagon in the background, but that way they're still front and center on the card. I did kind of pop up this front leaf with just some spare pieces of cardstock that I had, and as you could see, my cheap way of holding them together before I glued them on, but hey, you know, whatever works. Only you and I will know, and I'm sure you won't tell anyone, right? Thanks. So you can see a little bit of that extra cardstock sticking out. Okay. I don't think I'll pop these up, but I like that. And my card base, in case anyone is wondering, it is a 5x5 size. I thought that was nice to work with the size of these leaves, and I can still stick it in a 5x7 envelope for mailing purposes here in the US. But who knows, maybe this one will go across the seas or to a local friend. One never knows. Okay, let's make sure I get my sentiment in the right order. Okay, some say fall is the season. Okay. All right. When the leaves change, which, as of this recording, today is September 22nd, 2025, first day of fall according to the calendar. So whoop whoop. Okay, when the leaves change. Okay. Just need some gemmies, I think, or some, I like to use diamond dots sprinkled around, which can take me about just as long to put on as it did to make the card. So we'll parameter check with both cards, shall we? Square card, check and check. Dairy Isle colors, Dean's Dip and cheese as my inspiration. The nice thing is I get to eat that inspiration when I am done. Leaves, technically, this one has two big leaves, and as it's leaves, that means 2 or more. Check and check. And a hexagon. There's my hexagon here. I have 3 hexagon shapes on this one. And another shout out to T, or Tracy, or Not Afraid of Color, however you may like to call her. Don't call her late for dinner. Again, the printout with the leaves and the funny sayings is because of her YouTube membership, as well as these fun greetings that all have this kind of label look with this faux stitching. So thanks again, T, for providing those. I did have so much fun using them. And all the parameters are check, are a go. So I'll take some pictures, get these uploaded. Let me know if you have any questions about Craft Roulette and how the show works, how the parameters, or if you have questions how I used my parameters, questions on products that I use, or just any questions in general, do let me know down below. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye!